Have you ever jolted awake from a dream that felt so real, so vivid, that it left you questioning if it was just a dream? What if I told you that these moments might not be random at all? What if they were whispers from a version of yourself? One that exists in a dimension parallel to this one. Sounds like science fiction, right? But stay with me, because the more you unravel this, the less fictional it begins to feel. Dreams have fascinated humanity since the dawn of time. Ancient Egyptians believed dreams were divine messages, a way to glimpse the will of the gods. Meanwhile, modern psychology, thank you Sigmund Freud, claims that dreams are merely a playground for your subconscious. But what if both are missing the bigger picture? What if dreams are something far more profound? A portal. Think of it like this. Imagine you're scrolling through TikTok, and suddenly, you stumble upon a live stream of someone who looks, talks, and acts exactly like you. But they're in a completely different room, living a different life. Your dreams, my friend, could be something like that. A glimpse into another you, someone living in a parallel universe. A you who might be watching, learning, or even trying to communicate. And no, this isn't some Hollywood plot twist. Quantum physics, the very science that governs our reality, suggests that infinite versions of you might actually exist. Now, here's the kicker. Not every dream carries a hidden meaning. Most of them are just your brain taking out the trash, processing emotions, replaying memories, or spinning random stories for entertainment. But every so often, a dream feels different. Have you ever dreamt of staring into a mirror, only to see a version of yourself that isn't quite right? Or maybe you've felt someone watching you, just out of view, as if there was another presence there? These aren't ordinary dreams, they're coded messages. Let me share a quick example. A friend of mine once dreamt of being followed by his shadow, except the shadow wasn't mimicking his movements. It acted independently, as if it had a mind of its own. The moment he turned around to face it, he woke up in a cold sweat. Creepy, right? But what if that shadow wasn't just a figment of his imagination, but a parallel version of him observing his life, trying to make contact? And here's where things get practical. If you've ever had dreams that feel heavy with meaning, here's your first step. Start keeping a dream journal. Yes, it's that simple. The moment you wake up, grab a notebook or even your phone, and jot down everything you remember. No detail is too small. Patterns will emerge. Symbols, emotions, recurring figures, and those patterns are like breadcrumbs leading you to the truth. Now, let me ask you, have you ever had a dream so vivid, so otherworldly, that it lingered in your mind for days? If so, you're not alone. And the deeper we dive, the more you'll begin to recognize the signs that your dreams aren't random at all. They might be messages from the other side. But before we get ahead of ourselves, we need to crack the code behind these symbols. Because understanding the language of your dreams is the first step to uncovering why your parallel version might be watching, or what they're trying to tell you. Dreams are like puzzles, aren't they? Fragments of emotions, symbols, and moments stitched together into something that feels just out of reach. But here's the thing, symbols in dreams are rarely random. They're a secret language, one your mind uses to whisper truths you might not yet understand. And when it comes to interdimensional communication, these symbols become the key to unlocking the messages hidden between worlds. Take mirrors, for instance. Have you ever dreamt of looking into a mirror, only to find that your reflection is wrong? Maybe it doesn't move when you do, or it seems to know something you don't. In the realm of dream interpretation, mirrors often represent self-reflection or a confrontation with your subconscious. But in the context of parallel realities, a mirror could be a literal window, a way for your parallel self to watch or communicate. If this happens in your dream, try this. Instead of turning away, lean in closer. Ask the reflection a question. Pay attention to how it responds, even if it's just with a look or gesture. These subtle moments can carry meaning you wouldn't expect. Then there's the shadow figure, one of the most common and chilling symbols. Have you ever dreamt of being followed by a dark silhouette that feels human but lacks detail? Shadows are often seen as representations of our hidden fears or suppressed desires. But what if there's something else entirely? Some believe shadow figures in dreams could symbolize a parallel version of yourself, observing from their dimension. Here's a practical exercise. When you wake up, write down everything you remember about the figure, how it moved, how you felt in its presence, and whether it seemed familiar. Over time, these details might reveal a pattern. Let's not forget recurring dreams. Maybe you've had the same dream multiple times, walking down a never-ending hallway, swimming in a vast, dark ocean, or standing at the edge of an unfamiliar city. These dreams often contain symbols trying desperately to get your attention. For instance, a door that you can never quite open might represent a boundary between dimensions, a threshold that your parallel self can't yet cross. If you encounter such symbols, try a visualization technique before bed. Picture yourself opening that door, stepping into what's on the other side, and inviting clarity into your dream world. And while we're talking about clarity, let's add a little scientific weight to this conversation. Carl Jung, one of the pioneers of dream psychology, believed in the concept of archetypes, universal symbols embedded in the human psyche. For example, the shadow archetype represents the parts of yourself that you've repressed or ignored. In the multiverse theory, could these archetypes also reflect the lives of your parallel selves, mirroring their struggles and triumphs? Now, here's where things get even more intriguing. Numbers. If you repeatedly see specific numbers in your dreams, let's say 1111 or 333, pay close attention. In numerology, repeating numbers are thought to carry spiritual significance, often seen as messages from higher planes of existence. But some believe these numbers might also be signals from your parallel self, marking moments when your realities briefly align. If you notice this, start keeping track of when these numbers appear in your waking life too. Synchronicities are never mere coincidence. Dreams are a conversation, but one spoken in metaphors and riddles. And like any good conversation, it's about listening closely and responding with intention. The more you tune in to these symbols, the clearer the message becomes. But remember, symbols are only part of the story. The true power lies in recognizing when a dream is more than just a dream, when it feels like a whisper from the other side. And speaking of whispers, have you ever wondered how to tell the difference between an ordinary dream and one carrying interdimensional significance? The answer lies not just in the symbols, but in the experience itself. Let's take this deeper. Not all dreams are created equal. Most are fleeting, surreal flashes of your subconscious mind at play, but then there are those other dreams. You know the ones that stick with you. They're vivid, intense, and feel more real than reality itself. These are the dreams where you wake up not just remembering them, but feeling them, like a fingerprint left on your soul. If you've experienced this, you might have brushed up against something extraordinary, an interdimensional dream. So how do you tell the difference? Start by paying attention to the textures of your dreams. Interdimensional dreams often carry an emotional weight, a profound sense of familiarity mixed with the uncanny. Have you ever dreamt of being in a place you've never seen, yet you know it like the back of your hand? This déjà vu effect could mean that your parallel self is showing you a glimpse of their reality. A practical step here is to map out these dreamscapes in a notebook or sketchpad. Even if you're not an artist, the act of visualizing these places can spark connections you didn't realize were there. Another key sign is the heightened sensory experience. In regular dreams, details often feel fuzzy or incomplete, like watching a movie through a foggy window. But interdimensional dreams? They're crisp. You can feel the texture of the ground beneath your feet, smell the air, and even taste the food. It's as if your senses are operating on overdrive. One person I spoke to recalled a dream where they walked through a marketplace, vividly smelling spices they couldn't name and feeling the warmth of the sun on their skin. What they described wasn't just a dream, it was immersion. If this happens to you, focus on one dominant sense during the dream: smell, touch, sound, and anchor yourself to it. It might lead you to a deeper connection. Now, let's talk about recurring symbols. If you're seeing the same objects, places, or people in your dreams over and over again, don't ignore them. Interdimensional dreams often have consistent elements that serve as markers. A staircase that spirals endlessly, a specific number that appears in strange contexts, or even a recurring stranger who seems to know you better than you know yourself. These could be breadcrumbs left by your parallel self. Here's an exercise. Give these symbols your attention in waking life. If it's a number, look for it throughout your day. If it's a place, research its possible significance. You might find that your waking and dream realities are more intertwined than you think. But the most unmistakable hallmark of an interdimensional dream is the presence of a watcher. Have you ever felt like someone, or something, was observing you from the corners of your dream? You turn, but there's no one there. Yet you know you're not alone. Some interpret this as your parallel self watching your life unfold, studying your decisions, or even trying to intervene. The question is, are they watching to guide you, or are they learning from you? Next time you sense this presence, try speaking to it. It sounds strange, I know, but just say something simple like, "Who are you?" You might be surprised by how the dream responds. For those who want to take their dream exploration even further, let's talk about lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is the ability to become aware that you're dreaming and then take control of the experience. Think of it as the ultimate wake-up button inside your dreams. To practice this, start by doing reality checks during the day. Look at your hands. Do they look normal? Count your fingers. In dreams, details like this often appear distorted. By training your mind to notice these oddities, you'll start recognizing them in your dreams and become lucid. Once lucid, you can actively seek out your parallel self. Ask questions, explore the dream environment, and take note of any responses or interactions. And here's a tip for your dream journal. Highlight the dreams that feel different. Use a separate color or mark them with stars. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns and trends that differentiate ordinary dreams from the ones that truly matter. But here's the twist. Why would your parallel self want to connect with you in the first place? What are they hoping to share, warn, or learn? To answer that, we need to dig into the why behind these interactions. And it's not as simple as you think. Let's entertain a wild thought for a moment. What if you are the experiment? Not in a sinister science lab kind of way, but in a cosmic sense. What if your parallel self is observing your life because, in some way, it holds the answers they've been seeking? This is where things get truly fascinating. The multiverse theory, the idea that infinite versions of you exist, each making different choices, suggests that every decision you've made, every moment you've lived, has created a ripple across dimensions. And maybe, just maybe, your parallel self has found something in your life worth learning from. Let's break it down. Imagine your parallel self standing at a crossroads in their dimension, facing a decision that feels insurmountable. Perhaps they've taken a path that led them to hardship, loss, or regret, and now, through the thin veil of dreams, they're watching your life unfold, searching for guidance. Have you ever made a bold choice in your life, one that defied logic but felt absolutely right? What if your bravery in that moment inspired another version of you, silently watching, to do the same? But it's not always about learning. Sometimes, your parallel self might be trying to warn you. Ever had a dream that felt like a flashing red light, something telling you to avoid a particular person, decision, or situation? These could be messages from another dimension where that very scenario played out badly. For example, say you dream of walking down a dark alley and sensing danger just as you're about to step forward. You hesitate and wake up. Weeks later, you're faced with a real-life decision that mirrors the dream. Do you take the warning seriously? Start viewing these dreams as potential roadmaps, guiding you away from pitfalls that another version of you might have fallen into. And then, there's the possibility that your parallel self isn't just watching, they're influencing. Quantum entanglement, a phenomenon where particles remain connected even across vast distances, might apply to consciousness too. Some scientists speculate that decisions or emotions from one version of you could ripple into another. Have you ever had a sudden gut feeling, an unexplainable pull to do or avoid something? What if that was a nudge from your parallel self? Now, let's ground this in something practical. If you suspect your dreams are influenced by your parallel self, pay attention to moments in waking life where your emotions seem amplified, an unexplainable sense of joy, sadness, or urgency. Start a habit of mindfulness throughout your day. When you feel these moments, pause and ask yourself, is this my instinct, or is it coming from somewhere else? Journaling these experiences alongside your dreams might help you spot connections you never noticed before. Here's where it gets even more fascinating. The idea of parallel selves isn't just theoretical, it's deeply rooted in culture and folklore. Indigenous tribes, like the Aborigines of Australia, speak of the dream time, a state of existence where all timelines converge. In their view, dreams are not just personal experiences but universal connections, where ancestors, spirits, and even parallel realities can communicate. The same can be said for ancient Hindu teachings, where the concept of Maya suggests that the physical world is an illusion, and what we perceive as dreams might actually be glimpses of the true, infinite universe. Still, the question remains, why now? Why would your parallel self choose to connect with you in this moment? Maybe it's because the stakes are higher than ever. Perhaps there's a choice coming in your life, one that could alter the trajectory of not just your reality, but theirs as well. Think of it like a game of chess. Every move you make has consequences, and sometimes, the other players are watching closely to see if your strategy can help them win too. And yet, for all the observing and influencing that might be happening, there's still one thing we haven't explored. What happens when you decide to connect back? What if you could turn this one-sided relationship into a two-way dialogue? That's where the real power lies, and it's a skill you can cultivate, if you know how. Let's dive into that next. What if I told you that the veil between you and your parallel self isn't as thick as it seems? That with the right tools and focus, you could not only sense their presence but actually communicate with them? This isn't just the stuff of sci-fi novels. It's an ancient practice disguised as modern curiosity. By tuning into the right frequencies of your consciousness, you can create a bridge between realities and transform your dreams into an open dialogue. The first step: mastering lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is the gateway to intentional exploration of other dimensions. If you've never tried it before, start with a simple exercise. Before you sleep, repeat a mantra like, "I will know I'm dreaming." This seeds your subconscious with intention. While dreaming, look for inconsistencies, clocks that don't tell time, light switches that don't work, or your reflection acting out of sync. Once you recognize you're dreaming, you gain control, and here's the powerful part. You can use this state to call out to your parallel self. Say their name, if you've given them one, or simply ask, "Are you here?" The responses may not come as words, but as symbols, emotions, or actions. For those who prefer a waking approach, meditation is your second tool. Set aside 10 to 15 minutes daily to sit in silence. Close your eyes and focus on your breath. Once you're centered, Visualize a version of yourself standing before you, one that feels familiar but slightly different. What are they wearing? How do they move? Ask them questions silently, and don't overthink the answers that come to you. They may appear as images, thoughts, or even sensations in your body. Over time, this practice strengthens the connection between you and your parallel counterpart. Another method is through dream incubation. This is where you plant a specific question or intention into your mind before you sleep. Write down your question, such as, "What do I need to know from my parallel self?" Or, "How can I connect with a version of me that's watching?" Place the note under your pillow or beside your bed as a physical anchor for your intention. When you dream, be mindful of any responses that come through symbols, characters, or experiences. Upon waking, immediately jot down your dreams, no matter how fragmented they feel. Over time, patterns and answers will begin to emerge. Let's not ignore the power of synchronicities in your waking life. If you're actively trying to connect with your parallel self, you'll start noticing strange coincidences. Perhaps you dream of a bluebird, and the next day you see a mural of one on a wall you've passed 100 times without noticing. Maybe you keep seeing the same sequence of numbers, like 222 or 777, at the oddest times. These are signs that the veil between dimensions is thinning. When you notice them, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what's happening in my life right now that might connect to this? Synchronicities are breadcrumbs your parallel self might be leaving for you. For the tech-savvy among us, even technology can play a role. Apps like binaural beats or guided meditations tuned to specific brainwave frequencies, theta waves for example, can help deepen your dream states or meditation sessions. Try pairing these with journaling or visualization exercises to amplify the results. But here's the real secret. Connecting with your parallel self requires more than just tools. It demands curiosity and trust. You're not just exploring some abstract concept. You're building a relationship with another version of you. And like any relationship, it takes time, patience, and an open mind. Still, there's one question that lingers in the air. If you manage to connect with your parallel self, what will they reveal? Could they hold the key to unlocking something extraordinary about your life? Or might they need you just as much as you need them? That's the mystery we'll leave hanging, for now.